sugar beet success story began with the cultivation of sugar beets and construction of sugar factories in Europe. A new cycle begins every spring. About 45,000 farmers sow beet seeds for the Zootsuka group. The foundation for an excellent harvest starts with the seeds they select. Nowadays, beets that grow in Zootsuka fields have a sugar content of about 18%. And, by the way, during the entire process of producing the end product sugar from the initial seeds, we always take great care to optimize the energy and raw material we consume, as well as utilize all byproducts to the greatest extent possible. The harvest begins in autumn when the beets have ripened. Starting in September, the beets are pulled from the soil and stored in piles at the edges of the fields. The beet leaves are cut off and used to fertilize the land. The farmers employ ultra-modern harvesting machines to ensure that the beets and soil are treated gently. Beet cleaning and loading onto trucks takes place at the edges of the fields using special sugar beet cleaning loaders. A sophisticated logistics concept coordinates the harvesting, loading, and transportation to ensure that the supply of the beets to the factories is as steady as possible. Each vehicle is weighed when it enters the yard. A sample of the beets on board is then taken and analyzed. The sugar content, the quality of the beets, as well as the quantity delivered, all play a role in how a farmer is compensated. A powerful jet of water then washes the beets from the truck into a wet hopper. Some of the beets are placed on conveyor belts for transport to the storage area so that the factory has enough raw material over the weekend. Most are sent to beet washers, where the soil is gently cleaned from the beets, and from there they go directly to the sugar mill. The cleaned beets are then cut by slicing machines into cosettes, which are subsequently heated to a temperature of 65 to 70 degrees Celsius in a cosette scalder. This cosette's juice mixture is pumped to an extraction tower, where hot water flowing countercurrent to the cosettes extracts the sugar from the cells. The so-called raw juice is thus obtained. The exhausted cosettes are pressed and used for animal feed, either directly or after further processing. Besides sugar, the raw juice contains other natural ingredients, such as proteins and organic acids. During the purification process, milk of lime and carbon dioxide are added to the raw juice in order to bind these non-sugar ingredients so that they can subsequently be filtered out. The extracted substances form valuable lime fertilizer, which is returned to the fields. The thin juice is now clear and pale yellow, with a sugar content of 16 to 17%. It is subsequently sent through several evaporator station stages and turns into a viscous, clear, golden brown thick juice with a sugar content of about 67%. In some of the Zootsuka Group's factories, a part of the thick juice is stored in huge tanks and further processed the following spring during a so-called thick juice campaign. Thick juice now flows into crystallizers, where it is further reduced until sugar crystals are formed, still coated with golden yellow syrup. Crystallization is monitored closely. When there are enough crystals of the right size, the content of the crystallizer is transferred via some intermediate vessels to the centrifuges. Spinning at over 1000 RPM, and with the addition of some water, the crystals are separated from the adherent syrup. What remains is the pure natural sugar that was formed in the beet leaves by photosynthesis, that is, by the sun, the air, and the water, before being stored temporarily in the beets themselves. The syrup that was separated in the centrifuges can be crystallized further in 2 additional stages. By the way, the syrup extracted in the final crystallization stage is called molasses, which is also used as animal feed or further processed in the fermentation industry. Refined sugar, that is very pure, first-class crystallized sugar, is made by remelting and recrystallizing this first produced sugar. The entire process of producing finished sugar from the beets, dried, cooled, and transferred to sugar silos via conveyor belts, takes on average only 8 hours.